The Manipur viral video that jolted India is now before the Supreme Court. And one of the lawyers fighting for the women is the same lawyer who also fought for Bilkis Bano. She's also in the Supreme Court contesting the remission of her convicted rapists. I'm Barkha, Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. We're focusing today on the comments made by Chief Justice Chandrachud. Very, very significant comments. Justice Chandrachud, while hearing these petitions, made the comment that Manipur could not be seen as an isolated case. Manipur could not be conflated with Nirbhaya, he said, because the violence the Chief Justice of India observed is systemic. He also went on to pose several difficult questions for the government, including questioning why the police had detailed registering an FIR in this Manipur viral video case. The Chief Justice also wanted to know the breakup of the 6,000 FIRs. That's how many FIRs have been registered in Manipur. He wanted to know how many of these actually involve violence against women, sexual violations of women. The Solicitor General said that information was not available with the government at the moment. Now, as the bodies of women become battlefields in the conflict of Manipur, several lawyers speaking in the Supreme Court today demanded not just that the cases be tried outside of the state, but that a Supreme Court appointed committee should travel to Manipur. They also asked for a SIT, a special investigation team, a probe by an SIT that would be overseen by the Supreme Court. Let's introduce our guest on the program today. Shobha Gupta is with us. Shobha, of course, has, as I mentioned, been the woman who has been fighting tirelessly for Bilkis Bano. And Shobha, of course, in the court today, the Manipur viral video, the women who were on that video was the immediate context, but there were other cases that were also referenced, including one reported by me, by Mojo Story, which involves the rape and murder of two young women who are car wash employees. And the point that you and others made, and there we can see those women, their identities withheld, they were raped and murdered. In their case too, the FIR was registered on the 16th of May, and there's still not been a single arrest. In fact, their families have not even got the bodies of these women that are lying still in a hospital morgue. Shobha, the petition that you registered in the Supreme Court said it was on behalf of we, the women of, the women of India. This is not on behalf of Shobha. This is not on behalf of Barkha. This is not on behalf of even just only the two women in that viral video. You believe this is an inflection point for women. Explain the concept of filing a petition on behalf of we the women. Can you? Yeah, go ahead, ma'am. Yeah.
Barkha ji, this organization works for all the causes of women, maybe for empowerment, upliftment. Certainly when you're talking any cause of women, you would be talking of the safety, their right to survive, their right to live with dignity, and their right to have justice. Now, how come you as a woman of India or otherwise be sitting tight, quiet, without reacting when you see the video which we all saw on 19th of July? We all were watching Manipur, we all were witnessing. But I believe that video which became viral on 19th of July shook us all. And it was difficult to sleep. It was difficult to justify your existence unless you speak on issues like this. So that was a compelling reason. And we have been through such cases. Like I have been, as you said, dealing with Bilkis case since long. I have been very, very, directly associated with Delhi riots. I was myself holding camps there for 18 days. Yeah. So I know how it feels when, your house is burned, arson, people murdered, all people around you are murdered, all your relatives murdered, women raped, and then the helplessness to continue to live in the relief camp. Nobody turns up to you, and where to go?
Yeah.
You are simply ensuring your 2 times meal in the relief camp. If you go back and see those burned houses, what do? You have no money left, nothing, no support system. You don't know if you go there, are you surviving? And yes, we are very particular in our application. We are not talking any community. This is a communal violence. This is a sectarian violence. But we are not siding any particular community. Any woman across the board.
Yes, that's very important.
For this, we are with her.
I think that's a very important point that you are actually making. You're saying, though this is sectarian violence, it doesn't matter which community, Meitei or Kuki or any other community that a woman belongs to. If a woman has suffered, you are with her. Now, my question to you is this. Where do you want this fight to start? Chief Justice Chandrachud had many questions for the government. And one of the interveners in the case, lawyer Bansuri Swaraj, she said, what about the violence in other states? And the Chief Justice said at that point, are you saying that if we can't protect all daughters, we should protect no daughters? And he left it there as a question. What did you think of that? And the fact that he said, don't conflate this with Nirbhaya. Nirbhaya was a one-off incident. This is systemic violence.
So Chief said it, this is a systemic violence. Now, Nirbhaya, we all agitated. That was a single incident, but horrific one. We all agitated. Bilkis, we have all lived all along with the Bilkis case. And Muzaffarnagar, there are n number of instances we can keep mentioning. Unfortunately, tirelessly, the names change, the places change, the dates change. What continues to remain is that women are being used as an instrument of violence. Now, maybe whosoever wants to raise all such issues should be raised, if there are any such issues. But you can't club two states together. It was not a PIL which was dealing with all rape cases in the country. It was dealing with, all these petitions were dealing with a particular issue. That is, a state is burning. The women are being used as instrument of violence. Please help them. Take some measures. And, offense is done. Offense should not continue. That's one aspect. But who suffered, who are right now living in relief camps, they have to be taken back to their homes. But there are no homes. So the homes have to be reconstructed. Who would do that? Who would provide funds? Even to do that, Barkha, there is a stumbling block. When I was doing Delhi riots, the major question was why the people continue to go back and see their burnt houses, burnt shops. But where comes the stumbling block is you can't remove them. Why? Because investigation has to proceed. For that investigation team, first they have to register an FIR. Then the IU has to visit the place of occurrence to see the site of offense, site of crime. Photographs have to be taken, site map has to be prepared. From there, the investigation has to begin. Now, the moment you clear the debris, you clear the all the roughages what you are showing right now.
Yeah.
How would the investigation start? So, meaning thereby put brick by brick, have an SIT, let that SIT visit the places, let them do it at least 10 cases a day or 20 cases a day, take photographs, record their statements, lodge the FIR, then with consent, allow them to remove the debris of at least those 20 houses. And then at a war speed through the armed forces, let the rebuilding job be done.
Can I ask you something? You mentioned an SIT repeatedly. SIT, of course, is a special investigative probe. Now, the center also placed an affidavit before this hearing, and the center said we want this particular case to be investigated by the CBI and moved out of Manipur. What is the difference between a CBI probe and an SIT?
See, unfortunately, the way so far the situation has been handled by the governments, be it the central government or the state government, unfortunately, we are compelled to say the people, the Manipuri people who are suffering this are compelled to say they don't have faith in anyone now. Now, if they don't
so they don't trust the CBI.
You may trust, I may trust, the court may trust, the government officers who are appearing, the senior judicial officers who are representing the government in the court, they may have faith. But what do you do if the people who are suffering, who have to be investigated, who against whom the crime has been committed, say we don't have faith? Now, how do you generate faith? For their confidence, you appoint an independent team who should not only be an inquiry commission, who should not only be a fact-finding commission, but a team who can investigate under the provisions of CRPC.
Would it be enough for the Supreme Court to oversee the CBI probe, or that would not? You would oppose that also?
I believe you should have people independent than CBI. CBI, they may have one or two persons in that team, but you should have people who are outside CBI also.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you, one of the points that you and others who were arguing in the court today made is that while this one video jolted India, there are multiple instances of sexual violence that have taken place. In fact, we reported one of them, which I think I shared with you as well, where we spoke about how another rape and murder had taken place on the very day, I know Vrinda Grover raised this in court today, on the very day that the viral video assault took place. These two girls, they were cousins, they were friends. One was 21, one was 24. They were employees at a car wash. Their families have not been able to retrieve the bodies. Those bodies are still lying at a morgue in hospital. So it's very important for the country to understand this is not one case of sexual violence. We may be talking about widespread sexual violence, multiple cases. Isn't that correct?
Actually, yes. The chief minister of the state said there are hundreds such FIR, such instances. So the
Yes.
chief minister himself admitted, and that has been widely publicized, that published all over, that he said there are hundreds of such cases. And on top of it, assume for a moment there are only two, but one has to ascertain this.
Yeah.
Why in our country, even after 3 months, we do not have a very concrete information? See, today the government has taken time, but would you believe that on 8th of May, this is 4th of May incidents, 3rd May everything started, 6th May the petitions were taken before the court, 8th May the government was making a statement, we would take all necessary action. I can share the order with you. That's a detailed order of 8th of May, where the Chief Justice of India was assured by the senior government officials, judicial officer, saying we are taking all measures. We assure you we would
This is
take
on the 8th of May, and all of these
8th of
assaults have
May,
taken place on the 4th of May, which is when the
right?
incidents have taken
And
place.
today
Yes.
we are last day of July.
Yes.
If the highest court of the country was assured on 8th of May by the senior most judicial officer, why till date the situation is like that? Why today they had to say we have to still collect the information? Why they had no breakup? Why they had no information? I was really surprised that despite all that,
Yeah, that the Chief Justice asked the government today, can you give us a breakup? How many of these 6,000 cases actually involve offenses against women? And the government asked for time. This hearing will continue tomorrow. At this moment, Shobhaji, what is your hope? What is the thing you would like the Chief Justice to do at this point? One of the other suggestions is to send a team of lawyers and possibly judges, retired judges, including female representation, to these relief camps to meet with victims and survivors.
see, it's very necessary that a team reaches there to whom they can confide to. The victims can feel very comfortable, secured to make a statement to. And those statements should not be only a fact finding, like each time a team is going and they have to do it. You remember what Bilkis said to Justice Anand? She said, I'm being raped again and again each time when somebody visits me and asks me to narrate the whole horrific episode, and I have to revisit that.
Yeah.
So we don't want them to revisit it again and again. Let there be a very competent team go. And why lawyers and judges? Manipur lawyers, I do not know the correctness, but we have been hearing that you can't dare to appear for either of them because the other side would attack you. They don't have faith in the people who are coming from your side, then other side would not be having faith. So let a team from the highest court of the country go. The lawyers who can actually volunteer to say we are giving up our practice for 1 month. I'm ready to do that. But there has to be a team who say that we are giving up our practice for 1 month. We go there, sit there. 2 days would go in, having some kind of confidence building with them. Once they feel that you are their friend,
Yeah.
then the statement recording should start happening. You may not know, Barkha ji, that there would be n number of women who might have actually suffered sexual violence but would not come forward and say, we have suffered that. They
Yes.
would rather feel safe to simply say we have been beaten up, thrown this and that, and not to. So it's the truth has to come out, even for them to live and the guilty to be punished. The
And I
team
think
must go.
it's admirable that you've said that it has to be the same person. A person needs to go and spend a considerable amount of time. You are willing to give up your law practice to do that, and that's very admirable. My last question to you, as we await the Chief Justice's intervention, and we'll know probably tomorrow what the Supreme Court decides. Will the Supreme Court appoint an SIT? Will the Supreme Court oversee the judicial probe? That's my other question. The government has already announced a judicial probe. Then they have submitted in the Supreme Court that there will be a CBI probe. So we have a judicial probe, we have a CBI probe, now we possibly have an SIT. How will all of these work together, and how will we avoid, I think as Indra Jaising argued in court today, a survivor having to recount again and again and again and again? As you said, Bilkis said it was like being raped over and over again, multiple accounts of what she's gone through.
So this is what I'm saying. No need to have multiplying those probe, having n number of it. Just have one very thoughtful composition. It would be difficult to have a very proper composition to be framed. Like we have suggested today, court has said, okay, you all sit together, give suggestions. So right now we are on the job of making those suggestions. I have sent my feedback and we are finalizing the suggestions. But I'm saying let it be headed by a former judge of Supreme Court. Senior officials, DIG rank, DG rank, then SP rank people. You can't have only 2 or 3. You have to have a bulk of people in the team because they would have to visit so many areas. The government today, the number was crossing 6,000.
Yeah.
And this is not complete. This is not all incidents have been reported too. So all these 60,000 people are displaced today. They are living in relief camp. So having count of each one of them would not be a joke, would not be something which a single team can do. There has to be a big team with subcommittees possibly visiting there, but this has to be a team who is capable under CRPC to register FIR, to get 164 statement recorded, because you being a pro, dealing all these things, these statements have to come the earliest. It's already very late. It's already
3 months after their assault and the violence.
So you can't have a medical examination of any one of them.
Yeah.
There has to be immediate effect 164 statement to be kept in a sealed cover by the competent people, and then the investigation to begin to be finished within 30 days. You don't need a number of witnesses.
I think that's a very important point, that we've already lost 3 months. So there will be most of these women. I spoke to the husband of one of the survivors in the video, and he said, my wife hasn't.
I pointed this to court, and the Honorable Court was very consciously, they have taken note of this, that we have already lost 3 months.
Yes. It's a very important point. I want to ask you in the end.
You have to do it with a jet speed. Team to be sent, 164 to be recorded, FIR to be done, trial to begin, witness protection to be provided, compensation to be given, rehabilitation to be started. All that has to be done simultaneously with jet speed.
I couldn't agree more. I have to ask you in the end, as someone who's also represented and fought for Bilkis, now this, how do you keep hope? How do you tell the women of this country that justice will be served? Bilkis Bano saw her rapist walk out to garlands. There is Bihar, where we saw a similar rape convict being released. We are seeing this on a daily basis, and we're seeing sexual violence across states. It's a pan-India phenomena. Of course, Manipur is a very different case. How do you keep hope? How do you keep optimism?
Do you have any choice?
We have to keep fighting.
We have to keep fighting. Either surrender and tell them, okay, we are only, whatever materialist, you can use it whatever way you want to.
Yeah.
Or we oppose.
Yeah.
And whenever you assert, you oppose. And we have to keep opposing.
More power to you, Shobha Gupta. Thank you. And we look forward to seeing what the Chief Justice decides tomorrow at the close of the hearing. Thank you very much, ma'am. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.